the biggest issues in marriage is the issue of trust. And can you imagine that for 5 years you are not together with your spouse and the trust is intact? Can you try it? We're talking on the issue trust and communication in marriage. Welcome to Covenant Marriages. My name is Omo.
And I am Eunice. I cannot wait for today's episode. So sit back, relax, because Covenant Marriages will be right back.
Welcome back to Covenant Marriages. On this episode, we have the Ibikunles with us. They have been married for about 14 years. And in those 14 years, at least they've been apart for 5 years. And that is why we are talking about trust and communication in marriage. Welcome, Mr. and Mrs. Ibikunle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
So please give us background, because the background of this kind of trust that you have is important. So give us background, how you met and all of that.
Okay, I'll take this one. So I was working in a bank, right, front teller, and usually they bring new people from training school to come and start work. So she came in with 2 other people to the branch which I worked at that time. And funny enough, she was now put under my supervision.
Under your supervision, under the canopy.
to give her on-the-job training so that she can find her fit, you know. So, yeah, you want to take it?
Yeah, I think that's how we met. The particular branch I was posted to, I didn't like it because it was Ikorodu. I was like, I've never been to Lagos. I was recruited from Abuja. And later I was told I was going to be posted to Lagos. I didn't like the idea of Lagos because all I've heard about Lagos is rowdiness. And bad enough, it's not even enough that I was brought to Lagos from Abuja. I was sent to Ikorodu branch, you know. So, and on getting to this place, it was a rowdy branch. There were a lot of people. Everybody was making noise, you know. There was no, ATM just started. So it was not well established, you know. So most people still came into the banking hall for financial transactions. And I was attached to this front desk teller to stay with him, watch how he's managing irate customers and all of that. And I think it just started from there. I won't call it love at first sight, but I will call it adoration at first sight. That you just see this person, you observe the person's ways, and you are just amazed. Like, how does he cope with all this? How does he put it all together? Because for me, I was just going to collapse, you know, and he just had it all together and smiling and playing with all the customers. So I think that was the first thing for me.
So he did a great job with the on-the-job training.
Of course he did.
So how did he pop the question? Do you remember who took the first move, considering that it was quite a professional environment?
Yes.
So she came from Abuja. She didn't know Lagos.
Okay.
She was posted to Ikorodu. Then she was staying with a friend at Maryland. And in the banking sector those days, we closed very late. Sometimes we have to take the checks to Marina for clearing. Yes. After the close of work, we need to take the checks to Marina for clearing. All right. So because she would be closing late, she had to get a place in Ikorodu. So I helped her with that as well. So we got her a place in Ikorodu so that she would be close to work and close to me, right? So, to answer your question directly, it all started with this girl that needed help and needed protection. Yes.
Interesting.
we had a lot of funny people in the banks those days. So it all started with protecting this innocent girl. That's how it started. It wasn't love at first sight. So I felt a sense of responsibility for her, to help us settle in our work and to make it easy for her to, get started in a new career for her. So that's how it started. So along the line,
Every other thing.
one thing led to another, and then led to another. Then
Okay, still on the background, please.
Yeah.
What do you currently do now?
okay. So now we are no more in banking. I work in IT, a subset of IT nowadays. Mobile messaging, value-added services, and telecom solutions. That's
Okay.
what I do now.
And I work as a construction project manager with the Nigerian Correctional Service under the Ministry of Interior. So sometimes I work in Nigeria, and sometimes I work outside Nigeria because I represent my organization in the United Nations. So it takes me out of the country often.
Interesting. So before we dive into the question that Omo, I think you're cooking, I just want to ask, I love the foundation. I love that your relationship was built on trust, because you had to trust him to be able to play certain roles, like, be a quote-unquote big brother in the office. And I'm sure communication was part of it. You started from that stage of trusting somebody, a total stranger you never knew, who was once a colleague, and then eventually you people have started building up to being married.
Well, I think trust starts as taking a gamble. It's like you
Esma,
are
please say it
just,
again.
it's like taking a gamble, like just throwing yourself out there, not knowing what you get. Okay, in Christian parlance, we can say it's a step of faith. Launching out, not knowing what you're going to get, but hoping and believing that it will be all good. So I can say that the trust that I have for my husband is from him proving himself to be trustworthy. I have never had any reason to doubt his loyalty, and when we met in the bank, we were together for about a year. Then I walked my way back to Abuja because I never liked it in Lagos. I was still in the bank, but I was back in Abuja. And I told him, if at all anything is going to happen between us, it has to happen in Abuja. I am not staying in this place, So, and we both agreed that, okay, I should go ahead. It was going to come to Abuja and everything. That was the initial plan. But God had a better plan for us. So we got married like 2.5 years after. We met by March of 2007. And we got married November of 2009. So, and to and fro in between, we were apart, Lagos, Abuja, marriage counseling in Ibadan. So it will go from Lagos to Ibadan. I will go from Abuja to Ibadan for our marriage counseling because we got married in Ibadan. Throughout that time, the trust was already being built. There was no reason to doubt a particular hour of his day, that at this particular time, what were you doing?
Why didn't you pick up your call?
Exactly. So there was no such thing, because even sometimes I was not able to reach him or he was not able to reach me. But when we got back to talk, there was a reasonable and open explanation. There was nothing shady like, are you sure? Since there was no reason to doubt at that particular point in time, I think it just grew from there. We already had little away from each other here and there. And instead of jeopardizing the relationship, I think it has really helped us.
One other thing that helped at that time was that there was this particular airline that their flights were a bit cheap. So
If you book ahead of time.
So what I would do at that time, when I get my salary for the month, I allocate a particular part of that salary for flight tickets.
Wow.
Because I had to go to Abuja to see her.
So you traveled every month?
Let's say
Either he traveled or I traveled.
Yes.
Every
For
month.
3 years?
Yes.
That is all of this time. You now got married 2010.
No, we got married in 2009,
Nine.
November.
Okay.
It
Great.
was about
So-
2.5 years,
2.5
thereabout.
years.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was always going. If I was not going, she would always come to Lagos.
Interesting.
You've been investing in this woman for years.
Now it's ripping.
And yeah.
But hey, to the question that you say I should not ask, that I'm going to ask, please tell us why and at what stage did you now begin to do all these japa relationships? Sorry, I use the term japa. In Nigeria, japa means you travel out of the country, So, at what stage, after marriage, why didn't she just say, "I'm going, follow me"?
Okay, so the first was, I'll take the first, you take the second one. The first was I needed to improve my education. So I got a scholarship to study in Europe.
In Europe.
Then our first child was
9 months.
9 months. And I had to go.
9 months, baby, you left.
I had to go. The trust has been built even before we got married. We have been quite apart before marriage. So, so the issue then was not her trusting me to go. The issue was with the family. Like, so she didn't have any issues, but understandably, the families will be like, "Hey, you are leaving your wife and a 9-month-old baby." So it took some time for us to convince the families on both sides
Wow.
that this was the right step to take. So that was the first time I left in 2012, 2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Yes. I was always coming back as well, even from Europe.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes.
You got the deals from the same airline.
No. So of course it was. Now it's international travels. Our first daughter was 9 months when I left in December, and she was going to be 1 in March. That was 3 months. I came back home for that.
Wow.
It doesn't usually happen. People traveling abroad and 3 months are already back home. But because we both understood,
It's missing his wife.
we both understood that this is an important part. I don't want anybody to tell me about when my daughter was 1. So I came back after 3 months. Then I left again after the birthday. Then I came back again the same year for Christmas, because those are things that we don't miss.
The scholarship had travel allowance under or what?
No, it was just a deliberate thing that we had to do.
Okay,
Make it
carry on. So that was 3 years.
Yeah, that was 3 years for
Then?
studies, do the other part.
No, he didn't mention that in between the 3 years we had the second baby.
Okay.
Wow.
So
In one of those, my going and coming, the second child came. She got pregnant again, and I wasn't ready. I was a student. I didn't have a job. She was working, but I didn't have a job. I was studying.
Sorry, you were working in banking.
no, I was no longer in the bank at that time.
She had left at that time.
No,
I
I
can
left.
imagine.
Because in those days, I don't know if it still happens now, if both of you work in the same bank, one person had to leave. So that's one part we didn't talk
so
about.
I left as soon
She
as we
left
got married.
as soon
He
as we got
left
married.
later when he
I
was
left
traveling.
later when I was traveling.
All right, continue. That's 3 years now. You said the remaining part of the being away.
And so he came back now. So we were looking at, okay, whether the family should go and meet him. So while he was still there, we're just praying and trusting God for the best. And then there was no WhatsApp call, but there was Skype. So Skype knew that some two people were on Skype, because we were always on Skype. Where he wanted to cook, I would have to put him through the whole process on Skype. And I'm
I
happy
cooked my first ogbono soup
in Europe.
in Europe.
Yeah. So at least when he got back, he was a good cook. So
Amazing.
I had respite in the kitchen, So which before then, kitchen was a no-go area for him. So when he got back, our relationship was a bit shaky in the aspect of, you're in my space. This is how I arrange my thing. Why did you come and scatter this place, Because he has
On
not
both
been...
parts.
Yes. So it's like we are,
Especially on my part.
we kind of get used to not being together. But one thing that never got diminished was the trust. And even sometimes he went out with his friends. I didn't know exactly where they were. Then he will come back and say this. And I say, I didn't ask you any question. Then he will say, I'm wondering why you're not asking. What happened? And I'm like, I know that wherever you people have gone to, you will come back home. My own issue is, take your key. Don't call me to come and open the door. Take your key because I won't wait up. Whenever you come back, you are welcome. Just make sure you have your key. The part that will get me upset is if you call my phone to say, come and open the door, because I'm sleeping. So with that, we got to understand each other better with time. And we were able to communicate, like, this is what you're doing that is getting me upset. And initially, the communication sounded like judgment, like you are judging me. Like, I didn't like the way you always talk on the same thing over and over again, like an hammer that must break a rock, you know? But at the end of the day, I had to see it from the perspective of what's the motive? Why is it talking about this? It's to make sure the marriage improves. So if the motive is for us to improve, then I should see it in that light, that it's not being judgmental. He only wants the best. Because as we went along, we evolved. The children are older. You know, when they were little, they depended a lot on me. And my husband was the kind of person that will provide, but does not want to know the details of how the thing went. You know, just get things done. You understand? So by the time I needed to travel for work, my children were older, a bit independent and all of that. But it was the first time he would have to take care of domestic things. It was the first time he would have to know when they have PTA and when they have to go to school and buy things. So it was challenging for him. Maybe he will be able to talk about that. But one thing that I appreciate about that period, which actually helped the trust, is that instead of him having the reservation of, are you supposed to go or stay? Because I had an option not to go. It was just something that could help my career. But instead, I was the one having the reservation, but he was the propeller. It was the one that was saying, you are bigger than this. You can't just stay here. Go, go, go. And he was always giving me that scripture of, you cannot light a candle and hide it under the bushel. Like, you have to shine for the world to see. And he's always saying, don't worry, I've got this. These children will be fine. I gave birth to them now. Trust me, I can take care of them. You know, because that was my concern, that what will happen to these children? You know? So he gave me the confidence to say, go. As usual, my family members revolted, like, are you out of your mind? Where are you going? What's going to happen to your children? And the first thing I said, well, these children have a father. And they were like, a father can never be like a mother. You don't leave your children and just go because you want to work. What other work do you have than taking care of your children, you know? So, but it was the support structure that I needed. And I trusted him with the children, and he did a fabulous work. And I could not only trust him with my heart, not only trust him with finances, but I could also trust him with my children, and that he was going to do a great job with them. And he inculcated me into their life, in the sense that when they are going to school in the morning, they will do a video, good morning, mommy, have a nice day, we're on our way to school, bye, something like that. Then my daughter's best friend had birthday, and he took them. To me, that was a lot for him, because he was like, what's my business with all those tiny, tiny things you people do? So because I was not around, he drove them to the birthday. They did video. Throughout the drive, they were singing. He would play loud music. All of them would be jumping in the car. They would do video and send to me. So I was part of the whole 2 years that I was not around. So I wasn't around for 2 years. He left earlier for 3 years. So in total of our marriage, we've been apart for 5 years. But it doesn't seem like it, because we're in sync. Well, the trust and the communication has helped us to be as if nothing happened.
Technology is also key.
Yeah.
So the first time there was no WhatsApp, it was Skype. Like Skype really knew us. They really knew us. We had to rely on Skype a lot. In the recent time that she had to leave for work as well, I get confronted. Friends, family. So you are going to leave your wife to go and work somewhere, and you will be at home. I'm like, I left, so why can't she leave? So like she said, she was even the one that was having the reservations about going. But because I was progressing in my career, I also wanted that for her as well. I wanted her to do well in her career as well. So I was the one that was asking her, have you filled those forms? If you don't fill it, I'm going to fill it on your behalf. So I practically pushed her to go.
Wow.
So, of course, like I said, people would say, but I knew what I wanted for her. Okay, so technology again had to play a very important role. WhatsApp, videos. The nature of her job takes her to different parts of the country she was, sometimes in different time zones as well. So what kept us going as well is she would make sure, because we have built the trust over time, so she knows at this particular time, this is what my husband is doing, is at work. Even when, I mean, we are here, we both work here now, but at the moment, she knows that, except it's an emergency, we don't call each other during the day. Except really there's an emergency, because we know he's working, she's working, right? And when she was away as well, every time we are going to school, I'm going to drop the kids because I drop them and I pick them as well. We didn't do school bus. I wanted to have that bond with them because mommy was not around. So we always do a video call in the morning. Sometimes in the afternoon she's not available, but every night, except she cannot call, or we cannot have a call, except, and it's very rare cases. So technology played a very important role.
Interesting. Covenant marriages will be right back. We are still speaking with the Ibikunles, and we're treating the topic trust and communication
In marriage.
in marriage.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Covenant Marriages, and we are still speaking with the Ibikunles on the topic trust and communication in marriage. Please, first off, what part of Europe were you?
Helsinki, Finland.
Finland.
Finland, yes.
Finland.
Yes.
Sir, that cold place.
I traveled on the 31st of December, 2012. Landed in 2011. Landed in Helsinki, Finland, 1st of January.
2012.
Just to give you perspective, it's minus 36 degrees.
What? Weather for two. Sorry, but you didn't have another one.
No.
Only you.
And Skype.
And Skype. And this Skype that you are saying, as if it's in CCTV. Sir, was it on throughout?
Of course not.
Great. When the blood is flowing in your body as it should flow, and madam is not around, what's going on? How are you managing that jurisdiction?
So it's not an easy thing. I won't sit down here and tell you, no, I'm fine. I was just fine. It was just a walk in the park. It was not. So I think he had to do with a lot of occupying myself with a lot of schoolwork. Then in Finland, you could work 25 hours in a week.
Okay.
So I try to keep myself as busy as I can. Of course, with the help of the Holy Spirit, you pray for these things so that the Holy Spirit can help you. But there are days you wish you were not there. You were not in that, on those days, right? What did I do?
On those days, God forbid, one devil disguised as a very voluptuous lady is close to you. How did you manage it?
First off, and this is just
Wait, you were not tempted at all?
No, of course not. The temptations are always there. I went to a mixed school, so there are girls, ladies and men in the same place. But what I would say is that, and this is just by the way, it's a very cold country, so people cover up a lot, right? Maybe that helped, but really, But really, it's about knowing what you stand to lose spiritually and even physically. I try to remove myself from triggers. That's one thing that helped me a lot. I had a lot of friends. I have friends that would go out, go clubbing, and maybe part of my upbringing and my own personal character traits is I spend a lot of alone time with me. So when they are all out there, I'm indoors trying to do something else and distract myself. Was it easy? No. There are days you feel those, you are not in those kind of situations, but I try to remove the triggers as much as I could.
You
That's what
remove
helped
the
me.
triggers. When you are fired at, unko,
When you are fired at, and the firing was a lot as well. Yeah, the firing was a lot as well, especially in a place where at that time people with my skin color were not so much, right? I remember a very very funny scenario where one of my classmates, I think we took a group picture, so one of my classmates who was obviously very white and Finnish took the pictures home, and her younger sister saw these pictures, and he saw for the first time a dark-skinned guy. This girl came to class the following day with her sister just to come and see me.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, just so you know that the triggers are always there because they were not used to those kind of skin colors, especially the younger generation at that time. What ultimately helped me is to stay focused, remove everything that can set up those triggers and trigger those things. Those were the things that helped me.
I think to add to what you already said, talking about it helped a lot.
Okay.
At those times of, oh my God, what is this? Can this just end? Can we just collapse the distance between Helsinki and Lagos? You know, we call each other, we reassure each other, we encourage each other. You know why you are doing this. You know it won't be like this forever. Those words of assurances of, okay, this is exactly how I feel at this moment. And there's this girl in my class that is always shaking her bum bum. But I just left the class now, and I thought I should just call you to let you know. He made a lot of those calls that I just said I should call you to let you know.
So when you were hearing that they are shaking bomb for your husband in another place, how were you feeling?
Well, there was no feeling of fear. The only feeling I had was, okay, what's this Bible verse that say the present affliction is nothing compared to the glory that is ahead of us. That was my scripture. Like, okay, this also shall pass. You know, this is something we need to do just to get to where we are going.
Now, in your own case, when you were away.
Well, when I was away, I think it was basically the same concept. Now we are more matured in our relationship, and sex starts from the mind. If your mind is not there, there is so much, yeah, there are triggers, but if your mind is disciplined in a particular way, I'm not saying that the blood doesn't flow or you're not a flesh, but you get to a particular point that things that used to move you don't move you no more. It's just like, oh, okay, another naked girl, pass. You know, and our relationship had matured to a stage that we could talk about anything. And my husband is like a propeller when it comes to my career. Have you spoken to this person? Do you know that this guy is working in the social place? Have you discussed with him about collaboration? And if I keep saying, no, I don't want to talk to him. I'm like, but why? You know, and I'm like, the only thing this guy is interested in is to have me in bed. Like, what? Wow. And you didn't tell me all this, and I was laughing with him. I was like, no.
Will you fly to where he is and back?
And I was laughing with him. Can you imagine? And I'm like, let's just stay on the goal. And because we know why we are doing this, we can remove our mind from sex for a particular period of time. Then we used to do countdown. Like, okay, yes, you'll be home in 3 months. And every morning, because even while I was away, I had some family leave that I could travel for like 2 weeks, come back, you know. We'll be like, okay, today is date what? Day what? So we do countdown, and you know when you're looking forward to something, there is this power of expectation that removes you from the side, that you're just focused on that thing you're looking for.
Were they
Now
special?
I understand.
You understand
I
what?
understand. You see that countdown and expectation that she said? I understand now why they said a baby came in between somewhere.
So let's talk about family time, the times where she was away and into that role. I'm sure you had needs to be able to either cook, pack the children's bag, do homework, and all of those things. How have you been able to manage, considering that mom wasn't around?
So it was very interesting because at that time as well, I was progressing a lot in my career. So the career was a bit demanding. At that time, she had to leave. We had to have routine. My daughter is a lot older. She's almost 12 now.
She's already 12.
She's already 12, yeah. And I could easily delegate some things to her to do. And they always look forward to Daddy's special jollof rice. You know, so maybe when we're in the kitchen, I can tell her, and there are things to prep. Okay, you can cut the veggies while I do some other things.
Wow.
So yes, that's that aspect. But also we were able to do routines in terms of, okay, these are the things you do at this time. So when you wake up, this is the thing you do. You get your brother ready as well. You pack your books. The other challenging part also is checking the homeworks and assignments every day, because that's naturally our jurisdiction, but I have to also inculcate that. So was it seamless? No, it wasn't. Not in the least. It wasn't seamless, it wasn't easy, but because there's an end goal, then it's easy for us to navigate those things.
I think one thing we should also add when it comes to family routine is, like you said, leveraging on technology. There were days that Daddy was in meeting all day, that he only got a 30 minutes break to quickly pick them from school in the afternoon. And thank God for COVID. He was working from home. I left at the peak of COVID.
Wow.
So for the first 1 year of my absence, he did not have to go to the office. So he was home. So he could manage his time around the children. He could quickly end the meeting and go and check what's going on in the sitting room and things like that. And there were days that I had to attend to homework via video call.
Virtually.
Yes. And there are days that I had to tell them, take the picture of the page, send to me. Mommy, I can't figure out this quantitative reasoning. You are the quantitative person. Please, what is the answer? So they snap it, send to me. I look at it, then we talk about it. Then I ask them what happened in school today. So I could follow up with their progression in school. Then I could tell him, please, when you go tomorrow, see Mr. So and so. This is what is happening to this child. Ask them why this is. Ask them. So I was able to I was happy because I could be part of their life. I didn't feel that void of where are my children? You know, that kind of motherly instinct of I want to know what's going on. So I was able to follow up their class teachers. I had their numbers. I could talk to them. I could find out what was going on in the school. Then I could say, did you tell your daddy that so thing happened? And he'd be like, oh, I forgot. Then don't hide anything. Tell daddy what happened in school, you know. So it helped us to like manage the family together. So all the extended families that were waiting for like, you go see them, you know, they didn't see that void, you know. And it earned him a lot of respect. So now it's like a prototype in my extended family. Like, have you seen Kemi's husband?
Wow.
You know, so
he has a cape.
So, exactly.
So
it's like no. When they are talking of in-laws, when it comes, everybody will like, this is the man, you know.
Wow.
So, and I think it has to do a lot with understanding each other and not comparing your life with any other person. Knowing that it's just the two of us. Like he always says, the only important people in this world are in this room. That's what he always says. You, I, and these two children. Any other person can do whatever they want. If we are okay, they will fall in line eventually. Leave them. You know, so it's always like, let's concentrate on us. If we agree that this is what we are doing, everybody they will follow. Later, they will realize that we did the right thing, you know, which is exactly what has happened.
The part that is coming to mind now is in the financial part. Because you know now, if the trust is going to break, it's either number one, sexual or financial. So how did you guys manage trust financially?
Well, I think trust will span through every aspect of marriage.
True.
If I can trust you with my life, it's somebody that is alive that has money. So if I can trust you with my life, I can trust you with 2 human beings that came from my womb, then money is the least of my problem. That's the way I see it. You know, if you have not been able to manage me well, you have not been able to manage the 2 children that we have well, then I can't leave you with money. When I was away, I knew that it was going to be difficult. We had projects that we were both putting money into, that we already sat down to strategize that, okay, this is our focus for now. Whatever money we have now, this is where it's going to. And when we finish this one, then we'll talk about what happens next. Because of that, I had to go to the bank, the main account where I have other small accounts for daily spending and all, but the main account where I know that I had good money, I had to go to the bank to go ask them how I could make him a signatory. They just told me to write a letter indemnifying them that if he clears my account, there's nothing they can do. So I wrote the letter that it's my fault if he clears the account.
Wow.
Put his ID and everything, that if this person comes, I don't need to come. Whatever he needs to sign, let him sign it and go. So even though that was my account, I didn't open the account that way. It was because I was going away that I had to do that. And he never went to the bank without my consent. The few times he went there, it was because we agreed that, okay, for this project, our payments has fallen due. We need to some amount. Okay, go take this amount. So I didn't see any surprising debit alert like, hey, Mogbe, you know. So he held that trust.
Okay, so I'll tell you a quick backstory regarding finances. So when we were working in the bank, I needed to do some things. And there's this payment they used to pay us back in the day. I don't know if they still do it nowadays, which is called upfront payment. A certain part of your salary for a year will be paid to you once.
At the beginning of the year?
At the beginning of the year, yes.
Usually.
Yes, at the beginning of the year. She gave me her first upfront.
Eh?
Yes.
While you were not married?
We were not married. I think she came to Lagos. She saw that my
This auntie is trusty.
Yes, she saw that my apartment didn't have the necessary things, the equipment she wanted. I'm a guy that had so many responsibilities, so the bank money was not really showing. So she gave me her first upfront to buy electronics in the house.
Wow.
When we were not married. So if she could do that, I don't think, and I didn't betray that trust at that time. So I don't, it was not a difficult thing for her to do what she did when she was leaving for her posting, for her job many years after. Also, as a man, you should know your responsibilities in the family, regardless of what your wife earns. There are some things I take care of that she doesn't even touch, because I feel that those are my responsibilities, right? So I'm not intimidated by the amount of money she has, because I make my own money as well. So I think couples should not be intimidated by each other's finances, because you are only there to help each other grow.
True.
And that's what we've been doing for the years that we've been married.
14 years. Almost
14 years.
14 years. Wow. Amazing.
Yes, ma'am. I can't say it
No,
in
but
English.
this thing
But I salute you.
he just said, it has always been between the two of us. My family must not know. They will think that, what are you crazy? You know, but like I said initially, it was a leap of faith. And thank God it worked out for me. Do you understand? But there is something my auntie used to tell me when I was younger, when I used to ask her, how will I know when I see the right person? she looked at me and turned, because she was the one that like raised me in Christianity and all of that, prayer, fasting and all that. She looked at me and told me, how do you know you are a girl? I said, because I'm a girl. He said, the same way you are convinced that you are a girl is the same way you will know when you see the person, that you know that this is the person. It might not look like it at that moment, but you will know that this is the person. Coming back to almost question about temptation, he's always saying that all these girls that are just rolling bum bum up and down, could they marry me when you married me?
So he remembers
So,
all of the sacrifices.
Everybody thought I was, even his friends called me to the back and told me that, I hope you know that this guy does not have anything, or has he been lying to you?
My mother told
You
me
know,
as well.
even his mom. You understand?
So you married him when he was broke?
You know? So, and I came from seeming affluence, because I was living with my uncle, who was in a top shot in the country, and we're living at Sokoro with fleet of cars and everything. And I used to tell him that this is not my money. My own father is in one village in Osun State. So forget that I live with this person and I carry all his affluence. He has gunmen following him all up and down. And when they say his children, I'm one of his children. Do you understand? So, but I never lost sight of where I came from. Like, if I can come from where I came from and I could make something out of my life, I believe that, I used to tell him that because you are hardworking, because you care for others, I believe strongly that you are going somewhere in life. And no, so now when things happen and some people say, oh, he's like, somebody said, oh, his wife has given him a 4 to eat now, so it's whatever, it's whatever she says that he will do, you know. But he keeps saying they don't know what we've been through together. That he said, I could not have married me when you married me. That so if you could do that, we don't hide anything. So when it comes to finances, I can tell you that this is what he can afford, this is what he cannot afford. Because he's very fearful when it comes to finances. And I'm like, no, you don't keep money staring in the bank. I don't believe it. Let's put the money to use. And it's like, what if you lose it? That's him. He prefers for his money to be sitting in the bank, you know. So sometimes he doesn't agree. I try to convince him. He's like, you still do what you want to do. And I'm like, don't let money keep sitting down. And at the end of the day, we agree with me that, oh, that was a good one. Something came out of it. You understand? So when it comes to finances, we don't have any issues of hanky-panky or dodging. No.
Amazing story. And the beautiful thing is that you remember the seeds that she had sown from the early times, which is one takeaway from me, that men don't forget. It's still covenant marriages. I know, like me, you are having an amazing time taking notes from our guests who have been talking about trust and communication. Covenant marriages will be right back. Thank you for staying with us on Covenant Marriages. We are still with the Ibikunles and we're talking about trust and communication. Sam, what are things that you have taught your children, especially around Christian values, that has to do with trust? Considering that you've been away a few times and you've raised children in these 5 years that you have been apart.
Instilling that godly values into the children. It's something that you cannot waive in my family. So we have certain rules, certain regulations as well. But spiritually, even when she's not around, we try as much as possible to pray together, especially on weekends when she is less busy, through the use of technology as well. She joins in our devotions. On the weekdays, we might not work, but my daughter handles devotions during the week.
Wow.
Yes. So she handles that with her brother and we do a family devotion during the week. But on weekends, Saturday and Sundays, she joins into the devotions. We also have times for Holy Communion. Yes. So the boy handles that. He likes to do the Holy Communion, maybe because there's food involved. Yes. So she also has that. We also do that in the family, and we make sure she joins virtually for that as well.
So we just try as much as possible to keep the relationship running the same way it was running when we have movie date nights. Even when we're apart, yes.
Amazing.
So because
amazing. I'll say amazing.
When we are
How will you be
together,
watching the movie?
when we are together, let me tell you how. When we are together,
tell you how.
we sit down together like this. We watch it together. He is an expert in barbecue fish or chicken.
Nice.
So we make the barbecue, we eat, we watch the movie. When we are apart, we keep the. He will still make the barbecue here, and I will make my own barbecue where I am.
We'll share,
And
we compare notes. Okay, this is what you made, this is what I made.
Yes. And he will tell me the movie he's watching for that weekend. And because we have the movie app, we already know that, okay, it's the same movie we are watching. So he's watching, I'm watching, and later we talk about it. It gives us more things to gist about. Do you understand? We gist about it. And because of him, I picked interest in football, just so that we have things to gist about. We talk about football, then we change it to Nigerian politics. A normal me doesn't care who is the Senate president or who is the House of Rep member. But because of years of rubbing off, now I follow politics as if I'm a stakeholder. We are all stakeholders at the end of the day. So when we talk, we are like, have you seen what that guy said in the house yesterday? And this, and we have so many things to talk about because we have developed that rapport, intentionality over the years.
You know, for the first time, I'm thinking that, okay, it's not that bad because my stance has been hard. You cannot marry virtually. How will it work? You know, but you guys have come here and you have shared your example in a way that we all have learned. We have learned, and you've made it work. And I really, really hail you and congratulate you.
Thank you.
Are you going to try it again?
Well, if the opportunity presents itself, yes. Even in our confession, it's inculcated that we'll have opportunities that will benefit both of us. So in our careers. So I want him to make progress. He wants me to make progress. Even now that he's not living outside the country, there are times that he has to up and go. You understand? He has to also travel a lot for his job. Even though his travels are shorter, 1 week, 2 weeks, he's back, you know. So, but there are times he needs to go. There are times I need to go. So we already have that stability, and it's not strange anymore.
Wow, it is not strange anymore. And as in a lot of take-homes. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being a part of today's episode.
Thank you.
Our usual tradition on covenant marriages is not to leave you without a gift. So, we have a gift for you. I'm going to check it first. Oh, nice. So, on behalf of...
Have you guys heard that you look alike?
I think people say that when people get married after a long time.
Yeah,
14 years is a long time.
Well, you're right. You're right. On behalf of Covenant Marriages, we'd like to present you with this.
This is lovely.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Covenant Marriages, thank you for this gift.
Thank you.
Bless you.
We should thank you guys more for sharing and pouring of yourself to a host of people. Really like it.
Thank you. Yes, I like it.
You know, we are very grateful to have you.
And so our friends, we like to thank you for being part of this episode of Covenant Marriages. I hope, like us, you've learned a thing or two about how to build trust and communication in your marriage. I am still Eunice.
I'm still Omo, and bye.
Bye.
next.